Good morning. Friends, good morning. World anew. Morning anew. Lecture. Lesson, and we have to ask ourselves and you, how can we start from? Dear, why are we all here together? Now, and many friends travelled a long way in order to come here from all over the world, and there are thousands of friends in their wood system, but in truth it doesn't matter what we are here physically or in your wood system, because the only thing that truly matters is how we show our connection, how together we walk this path, the way that was given to us by Basim and Rabash and Rar, who paved that for us. So let's take advantage of the new opportunity that was given to us and reach connection and ask of the Creator to connect us so that we can give Him contentment. Oh, please, Rash writes, if several individuals come together with the force that it is worthwhile to abandon self-love, but without the sufficient power and importance of bestow to become independent without outside help, if these individuals are all before one another and all have at least potential love of their Creator, though they cannot keep it in practice, then by each joining the society and anning oneself before it, they become one body. For example, if there are 10 people in that body, it is 10 times more power than a single person does. Again, if several individuals come together with the force that it is worthwhile to abandon self-love, but without the sufficient power and importance of bestow so as to become independent without outside help, if these individuals are all before one another and all have at least potential love of the Creator, though they cannot keep it in practice, then by each joining the society and anning oneself before it, they become one body. For example, if there are 10 people in that body, it is 10 times more power than a single person does. The congress that we came for here, strengthening in the 10, how important it is to be only in the 10 to grow stronger there. All of the focus, all of your heart, put it only in the 10. The person by himself cannot succeed in getting out of self-love. As Rabash tells us, you need the friends, you need only the 10 to angle before them, opposite them, then they will influence each one of us so that each one will be able to give up on himself and feel and attain and open his heart. So indeed, let's ask together that the Creator will open our heart, that the 10 will have the power, because it doesn't matter how much power I have or each one of us. What matters is how much power each one receives from the 10 and can give them back in return. Give them power, so in this way we all rise higher and higher together, and I'm passing it on to the friend. Friends, our goal is to help the friends come closer to the Creator. There's nothing more important than to offer Him support, confidence, love, because without me He will not succeed. So let's do it now together and enter an active workshop. Each friend adds strength to their friend so that we can abandon self-love and reach the love of the Creator. Again, active workshop. Each friend adds strength to the friend so that we can abandon self-love and reach the love of the Creator. We came here, we have all the conditions we need for sure, the building, friends, books, sources, and in general we always have the ideal state for our advancement to keep moving forward. There's no such thing that we don't have the ideal state, or there are obstacles or something like that, but rather from here, from that point, we have to continue. Yes, indeed, all the conditions are met. We are seated here together with the great friends, with great desire and lack, with the preparation of fears, with a path paved for us by the Kabbalists, and love who guides us. Indeed, we have everything, and all that's left is to take one little step into the hearts of the friends, to put everything off to one side for a moment and to come closer. A small step called request and prayer, and to each one hold the hands of the other strongly and simply be ready to jump. What will happen when abundant self-love? I don't know, but let's hold each other's hands. Let's give forces and confidence that we are ready to devote ourselves to the goal, to the Creator, and only ask of Him that He will help us in that there's no greater confidence than to sit here alongside you with this great important goal of bestowing contentment upon the Creator by gathering together, anning ourselves to each other and becoming as one. Yes, and this confidence allows each and every one of us to truly receive the courage to turn to the Creator, and indeed to turn to the Creator for their friends and come out already out of this reddish that I'm into the infinite love that the Creator has prepared for us. Yes, we have a real opportunity to jump into that field of bestow to the friends and to request this of the Creator, because we true. Ye high pit, I'm not a morning person, so 1 o'clock in the morning is better for me than 7 a.m. It's just because I'll probably crash when I'm done. I don't know, we'll see, and we ask for Him to reveal to us what else we need from our behalf in order to complete the work. Yes, it's a great privilege that we're here together now in such a huge society, every the whole 10, and truly it's an opportunity now when ours are with us to add in connection, to add in the intention. It's a historical moment. Let's not miss out on this opportunity. Let's give everything that we have right now, just a moment before the Congress, as we enter the lesson. There's no doubt that we have a big society, but with most of my forces I'm drawn into the 10. I try to feel the friends very strongly in this convention, in the preparation, and I really get filled with confidence from the friends behave in the 10, and I'm sure that if that's how it is in this 10, I'm sure that's how it is in all the 10s really well aimed in this conventions, and there's no doubt that the Creator will complement it. Did you speak there? We will receive the fulfillment, and we have a very good vessel here. Did you speak to it? Cool. Yes, so the and give all our forces in all kinds of details, small and great. We will exert in the connection between us even more to devise tactics that are capable of increasing the love of friends, or the fondness between the friends we have. Such tactics, we have ideas, let's use them, and the reforming light will work on us. That's from Himself, and we saw that it doesn't work, but the one thing that saves you from that prison of yourself is the friends. So let us try to give each other strength to save the 10 from self-love and make another small hello everyone. Hello everyone, speaking on behalf of the Romanian TLE Congress F. Important. We're in a very special Congress. The Creator is with us, supporting us. Force is in our unity, in the connection between us. Go. We need to think about the Creator to ask, to pray that He will connect us. No, through Michael Laitman, we want to thank our Michael Laitman, who is directing us and leading us every day, every lesson in the direction of the Creator. Together, and may we be one, connected. CLE. In every 10 there is. Clearly, if there are more than 10, then there is more revelation of the. Thus each one should assemble with his friend and come to Him, to hear from Him a word about the work of the Creator and how to find the Creator. He should and know before his friend, and his friend should do the same toward him, and so should everyone do. Then when the assembly is with this intention, then more than the calf wants to suckle, the cow wants to nurse, and the Creator approaches them, and He is with them. Let's enter the lesson. Silent preparation will be requested. The Creator will connect between when us and with Him. Shalom. Hello, we are studying from the writings of Rash, Article 19, according to what is explained concerning love thy friend as thyself. The study material appears on our website here and also in the our system, and you can also ask questions during live broadcast through those websites here in the study hall. Anyone who wants to ask a question is requested to stand up, hold the mic close to their mic, hold their mouth, and speak clearly and concisely. Pay attention. There is microphones on the table, so whoever is close to a mic, make sure you're passing it to the people in order to so that they can ask questions. And now we're going to start with according to what is explained concerning love to each friend as yourself. You want to start avi no. Let's read according to what is explained concerning love thy friend as thyself, according to what is explained Concerning love thy friend as thyself, all the details of the 612 mitzvah commandments are contained in this rule. It is as our sages say, the rest is its commentary. Go study. This means that by keeping the 612 mitzvot we will be rewarded with the rule love thy friend, and following that, the love of God. Thus what does the love of friends? If us it is written that by gathering a few friends together, since they each have but a small force of love of others, meaning they can carry out the love of others only potentially when they implement it, they remember that they have decided to relinquish self-love in favor of love of others, but in fact one sees that he cannot relinquish any pleasure of the will to receive in favor of another, not even a bit. However, by assembling a few people who agreed that they have to achieve the love of others, when they annul themselves before one another, they are all intermingled. Thus in each person there accumulate a great force according to the size of the association, and then each can execute the love of others in actual fact. So what do the details of the 612 mitzvot give us, which we said are in order to keep the rule, since the rule is kept by love of friends, and we see that in reality there is love of friends among the secular. They two gather in various circles in order to have love of friends. What then is the difference between religious and secular? The verse says, nor sat in the seat of the scornful. We must understand the prohibition of the seat of the scornful. If he slanders or speaks idle words, then the prohibition is not because of a seat of scornful. So what does the seat of the scornful give us? Actually the meaning is that when a few people come together for the purpose of love of friends, with the intention that each and every one will help his friend improve his corporeal state, each anticipate that by having more meetings they will profit from society and improve their corporal estate. However, after all the meetings, everyone calculates and sees how much they have received from their association for self-love, what the will to receive has gained by that, since they invested time and effort to benefit society. So what have they gained by it? One could probably succeed more if engaged in self-benefit, at least the part of his own efforts. I entered the association because I thought that through it I would be able to gain more than I would gain alone, but now I see that I have gained nothing. Then one regrets it and says I would be better off using my own little strength instead of giving my time to society. However, now that I have given my time to society in order to gain more properties through help from the society, I finally realize that not only did I not gain anything from society, I even lost what I could have gained alone. When someone wishes to say that love of friends should be engaged in for the purpose of bestow, that everyone should work to benefit others, everyone laughs and mocks him. It seems to them like a kind of joke, and this is a seat of seculars. It is said about it, but sin is a reproach to any people, and every grace that they do for themselves. Such a society detaches one from holiness and casts him into the world of mockery. This is the prohibition of the seat of the scornful. Our sages said about such societies, disperse the wicked, better for them and better for their world. In other words, it is better that they do not exist. However, it is the opposite with the righteous. Assemble the righteous, better for them and better for the world. What is the meaning of righteous? It is those who want to keep the rule, love thy friend as thyself. Their sole intention is to exit self-love and assume a different nature of love of others. And although it is a mitzvah that should be kept and that one can force oneself to keep, love is still something that is given to the heart, and the heart disagrees with it by nature. What then can one do to make love of others touch the heart? This is why we were given the 612 mitzvot. They have the power to induce a sensation in the heart. However, since it is against nature that Sensation is too small to have the ability to keep lover. Friends de facto even though one has need for it. Hence now he must seek advice on how to actually implement it. The advice for one to be able to increase his strength in the role love thy friend is by love of friends. If everyone is nullified before his friend and mingles with him, they become one mass where all the little parts that want the love of others unite in a collective force that consists of many parts, and when one has great strength he can execute the love of others, and then he can achieve the love of God, but the condition is that each will and know before the other. However, when he is separated from his friend he cannot receive the share he should receive from his friend. Everyone should say that he is nothing compared to his friend. It is like writing numbers. If you first write 1 and then 0, it is 10 times more, and when you write 0, 0, it is 100 times more. In other words, if his friend is number 1 and the 0 follows it, it is considered that one receives from his friend 10 times more, and if he says that he is double 0 compared to his friend, he receives from his friend 10 times more. However, if it is to the contrary, and he says that his friend is 0 and he is 1, then he is 10 times less than his friend 0.1, and if he can say that he is 1 and he has 2 friends who are both zeros compared to him, then he is considered 100 times less than them, meaning he is 0.01. Thus his degree lessens according to the number of zeros he has from his friends. Yet even once he acquires that strength and can keep the love of others in actual fact, and feels his own gratification as bad for him, still do not believe in yourself. There must be fear of falling into self-love in the middle of the work. In other words, should one be given a greater pleasure than he is used to receiving, although he can already work in order to bestow with small pleasures and is willing to relinquish them, he lives in fear of great pleasures. This is called fear, and this is the gate to receive the light of faith, called the inspiration of this, as it is written in theme commentary. By the measure of fear is the measure of faith. Hence we must remember that the matter of love thy friend is thyself should be kept, because it is a mitzvah, since the Creator commanded to engage in love of friends, and Rabbi Acker only interprets this mitzvah that the Creator commanded. He intended to make this mitzvah into a rule by which to be able to keep all the mitzvot because of the commandment of the Creator, and not because of self-benefit. In other words, it is not that the mitzvah should expand our will to receive, meaning that by keeping the mitzvah we would be generously rewarded. Quite the contrary, by keeping the mitzvah we will reach the reward of being able to annul our self-love and achieve the love of others, and subsequently the love of God. Now we can understand what our S just said about the verse. Place them, it comes from the word some potion, as well as placing. If granted, it is a potion of life; if not granted, it is a potion of death. Not granted means that one engages in Torah and MIT to multiply self-love, so the body would acquire possessions in return for its work. If granted, one's self-love is nullified, and he aims to receive a reward that is the strength for love of others. By this he will reach the love of the Creator, that his only wish will be to give contentment to the Creator. So we heard this article in which Rash explains what love of others is according to what is explained concerning love your friend. This thing seems as something easy. This is how they speak to people when you want to make a speech to them or 2 children so that they will be good friends of each other and they won't punch each other. It doesn't seem like a serious article, it's not a serious topic, and this is the problem, that we do not understand that this is actually the point, or the line, that divides reality into our corporeal divide reality in which we exist in self-love, and a reality that is called the upper reality, where only those who reach love of others exist, and we have to realize that this boundary is a very strong, sharp boundary, and the forces that keep what is above the line, which is the spiritual world, and below the line, which is the corporal world. These are very firm, very strong forces, very precise forces, and those who hold, they are the ones that hold those who are in the lower reality a reality, and those who are in the upper reality in the next world, the upper world, the spiritual world. This is why all of our work is actually how to transition from the lower reality that we feel now. We are not aware of it, that this is the lower reality, that we are down below some boundary, but rather simply this is our life, this is our world, this is us. But in truth, Kabbalists explain to us that the most important is to cross this boundary to enter the upper world, and to continue their additional ascents and ascents, and not to let the forces of nature to influence us, confuse us, bring us back down to the laws of this world, the egoistic laws. This is actually the entire topic of the wisdom of Kabbalah, mostly how to cross this boundary, and then once we cross this boundary, how can we get to know the laws of the upper world and use them, take advantage of them in order to truly be knowledgeable of and ready to exist in the Creator's world. He is on the highest degree of the upper world. This is why the whole topic of the wisdom of Kabbalah doesn't really touch this world, what is below the boundary between this world and the spiritual world at all, but only to those who cross over to the upper world, the spiritual world. There we already begin to learn the laws of the upper world, and to discover them on ourselves, and how to use them correctly. All that we don't quite have really what to learn from the wisdom of Kabbalah, because the wisdom of Kabbalah actually all speaks only about the laws of the upper world. This is why we actually need to pay attention and put all our forces into how do we cross over from this world to the upper world, in our feeling, in our intellect, our mind, in our awareness, in our understanding, and whatever pertains truly to this world that is not the reality in which we want to remain. Our soul, which is called a God depth part from above, that exists in each and every one. It yearns to be in that state, in that reality, which is like the greater, which is the upper world, and only towards it we measure ourselves, not below the boundary between the worlds, but rather whatever we do, we have to do everything only for the sake of the ascent from this world to the upper world. So far, is everything clear? Are there any questions? Yes. You've spoken now about the concept of the boundary, how significant it is, and you said that we need to understand how much that boundary is strong. What does it mean that that boundary is strong? What do I need to understand from the boundary being strong? How is that expressed, that you can't just in some form cross it, jump above it, or in some other way go through it, but rather is only according to your congruence with the spiritual laws? That is all. Is that a boundary that you break through one time, or it's something that always expands more, that you advance? It could be that you have a few steps when you're already standing at the border, but actually it is once, usually, and because we don't have spiritual forces before we cross this boundary, and also after we cross the boundary, there are no spiritual forces that we can actually use. So we use our own forces, whatever exists between man and his friend. This is why love of friends is the most important here. It's the main thing that can help us, that can assist us to cross over from one world to the other. Okay, last question. We spoke in the preparation to the morning lesson about this common force, this mutual force that we create between us all the time. What is special about this force that helps you overcome that boundary? We feel that force each time. That gives us a bit more and a bit more to progress, and friends, without them you find that you cannot do anything. What is special about that Force. What is special about this force is that all of us, even though we hardly have any spiritual force, and we also don't have a desire for spirituality, the true desire, we don't know what else we need to do in spirituality so that it would attract us, or maybe it's the other way around, maybe we need to run away from it. So it turns out that first of all we need an environment. He explains it to us in many articles about the importance of the environment in achieving the spiritual force, and the friends that are next to us, so that we support each other, and each one will try to be an example for his friends and they towards him, and in this way we will actually attain. Maybe we will attain, we stand a chance, we have a possibility and opportunity, the ability to reach the entrance to the spiritual world, even though we don't actually feel in it anything for the time being, but rather we're being given some attraction towards it, towards the spiritual world from above, from its source, from the Creator, so that we can use this force. I hear a friend's giving me a question: why is it said that only through love can we pass that boundary? Is it correct that only through love can we go through that boundary? Yes, this is why it is called Love Your Friend as Yourself, and also it's the title for the text we read according to what is explained concerning love your friend as yourself, meaning what is the secret? We're so used to these words. You should go into kindergarten. You'll hear there all the time. Yeah, at school it's a bit less, and later on I mean who talks about that. So love of others is actually what is felt in every soul that crosses the boundary between our world and the upper world. This is the main thing that we have to acquire, because once we have love of others, we also acquire the love of the Creator, the love of friends, and the love of their Creator. Thank you very much. A tough question for many. Annulment toward the friend. Rash writes that there is a force in annulling toward the friend to the extent that it is 0.1 or 0.01. What is the difference between them? What is the criteria? First of all, the criteria is different for each and everyone according to the root of one's soul, and so I cannot say without which force you need in order to attain the force of bestow and love, in order to rise to the first or second or third degree. In general, we can say what it is, but nevertheless a person who hasn't yet acquired these qualities can't measure them with respect to himself. So of course we will go through all of that, but just realize that all of this will be attained by you as a result of your non-stop work between you in the group, when you will try to relate to the friends as it is written here in the text, and the friends also towards you will try to do the same thing. Then through your technique you will apply, you will digest, you will absorb these spiritual qualities, these spiritual degrees, and you will be able to rise and realize what exists in them. You said that what's most important is to attain the next world. What is the boundary that we need to cross? The boundary, yes, we need to cross the boundary between this world and the next world, where this boundary means the following: that I acquire a force that gives me the possibility to be above my ego, because my ego is the general my general egoistic force that compels me only to see what is good for me, and if it is at the expense of others, maybe it's even better. And so this boundary is in that I make a restriction, as we call it, meaning I close all of my desires to receive from myself, and I start to open up the desires to bestow to others. By this I get closer to others, and I make with them, with those who are also interested in it, in being connected, and from the connection to attain the degrees of bestow of love of others. That's it. It is written that the fear of the Creator is how can we receive the light from above directly here. It doesn't happen immediately, but after we rise a few, and somehow we begin to be oriented in the qualities, the forces that influence us, and we feel that they're operating within us. Then we begin to work with spirit forces, and then we begin to be concerned about this matter that you mentioned. Please, good morning, what a special feeling is annulment, which is the vessel for love. Is that faith above reason for annulment? At the end of it all, let's say. So I don't want to talk about things that are above what the audience understands and YouTube, so let's only speak about what we have before us. We are entering the Congress, and we want to annul ourselves what is the most important in this process to now know what you wanted to ask something. Now thank you. To so here the solest preservative for us is to an ourselves, and just let the Creator approach us, all of us. Yes, it's true, but also no, yes, and no, we need to give the Creator the opportunity to work, to operate, meaning there are apparently such forces within us so that we cannot allow him to work, not allow him to operate within us, and so everything depends also on the relation between the Creator and the person, and the way that the person relates to the Creator. How do we measure the combination of these forces? By the way a person relates to his friends. So if I relate to his friends, which he shows, and they're going together towards the ascent to the degree of the Creator, and this person can measure where he was yesterday, where he is today, where does he intend to be tomorrow, and the wisdom of Kabbalah explains it in such a way. What is it that he should do in order to rise to degrees that are closer and closer to the Creator? That if there was somebody else who wanted to ask, yes, the most important is to cross the boundary. How not to let these forces confuse us and pull us back down to the corporeal world? It's a correct question, it's in the right place. Simple answer only through that in which I have friends, and I and them together. It is desirable that it is 10 friends, a group where we support each other and we go together step by step, really step forward that we take. So the first step, the second step, the third step, and accordingly we go through together in the 10, the group that's worthwhile, that it'll be 10, and accordingly in the 10 we go through our path, we go through that boundary from here to the spiritual world, and afterward we continue, but already according to spiritual laws. Yes, when we read in the articles this word was rewarded, what is this up being rewarded? Made of my efforts, the efforts of the 10, because this is something that is given to us from above, from the Creator. For all of us together, what does it mean to be rewarded? Rewarded means that when a person gets permission for spiritual ascent from the current degree to the next degree, and then from the next degree to the degree after it, etc., that means that he is rewarded. He is nothing else, and there cannot be anything else if he is correctly directed at the attainment of the spiritual world, the upper world. So that is his sole purpose, and then he's rewarded time after time to rise another degree if he receives upper spiritual forces, and then gradually in that he acquires him, he rises. Well, how can we be rewarded right now, and that all of us together will cross over and be in a state where we give and receive from each other? How can we hold all of these things together? When you connect with another person, you think what you can give to them and receive from them. These emotions, these mutual and opposing motions, one towards the other, obligate you to act if he recommends for you to receive something, so receive; if to give, so to give, and then he in such a way toward you. Only in this mutual common work, one toward the other, you will be able to progress together. No, in the state where we already crossed, what is that it just appears to you that way we've gone through something, a little something, but it's only the beginning. Love, fear, and faith, we will learn that it's quite complex, dear teacher. What is spiritual love of friends between the friends? Love of friends between the friends is relations between two people where they both want to rise upward, and in their ascent they help each other how to develop the spiritual fear that I will not be able to bestow to the friends to think about it, and then there will surface in you such an attitude to think and deep pit that to yourself, and what are the ramifications? If I don't manage to bestow to the friends on the right time, they the worst possible ramifications as spiritual fall, spiritual ejection, or in general this blocking of their path. Hannah, thank you. I've got a question. Fern, Koa to be able to reach the boundary, what s of environment is needed to reach love your friend as yourself? What do we need to take care of? Our society is enough for us, and it's very suitable. We just need to implement in the society what we learn in the articles. Thank you. Can yes. Yesterday you said that our root is love. Why is it so difficult to awaken the love? There is nothing more against us, contradictory to us, opposite from our nature, from our outlook, from inclinations of ours, like the love of others. We are all the most egoistic that we could possibly be, and even a change from our attitude of hatred to others to the love of others for us, that is very, very difficult, and we need to incorporate in a lot of actions in order to attract the reforming light, the upper force, the upper light to influence us and create changes. Small Chinese in US, many of them, and many actions one after another, until we start feeling that we truly acquire some spiritual force. We are opposite to spiritual forces. Is that all? Ken, from yes, the lady over the Rob was asked to ask a question when we speak about keeping the MITV, the commandments, in order to reach love of friends. We connect in the 10, we read articles, we have workshops. But I know that her friend is not paying and not keeping her framework. So how should I relate to her? So how should I relate to such a friend, even though she's not keeping this commandment of timing? Depends on your agreement between you. If you incorporate in the group where there are minimal conditions of the Kabbalist, so then you are obligated to observe them. Therefore your attitudes to the friend needs to come from that in which how much she observes the conditions that the group needs to accept upon itself. If she doesn't keep these up commandments, this framework, that I cannot enter relations with her. Yes, you cannot. So said, aren't there any more questions? Can yes, ma'am, if I understand correctly, when I came here, every friend that I approached, I felt from them the same emotions that I feel towards my 10. So I'm excited, sorry, and my 10, it's like a good trainer. So it's not clear, how do I feel the same emotions even towards an external person like a taxi driver or someone similarly? It seems like the 10 trains me, and then I begin to feel I don't know if I should call it love, but something that I never felt before the wisdom of Kabbalah. Is this how it works? Yes, that's how it gradually develops in you. So I start feeling love as your friend, as yourself, towards each and everyone. Still not the full observance of this condition, but it's on the way. Are there any more questions? There are none. Okay, so let us continue. Well, good. Earlier you talked about the hatred that appears on the way to love. What is the best way to work with this hatred which is on the way to love? We need not to just raise the hatred, but to see how much we can invert it to its opposite, to love. In other words, try so, but in every force that awakens in us for or against connection, that we will use it in order either to increase the connection between us or to decrease the hatred between us. How can I use it? How can I turn the hatred into love? Exactly as I said, either to increase the forces that awaken in you to love, or to erase or decrease the forces that awaken for hatred, for separation. Is that so? Meaning it pays off to reject the hatred? Yes, certainly, and use it as a power with which we can love. Yes, thank you very much. We also need to understand that our heart, we all act according to spiritual laws, but we just don't pay attention to it. For instance, our heart compresses and relaxes, it acts this way like a P, and accordingly we need to learn how to use all of those forces, the force of attraction and the force of rejection, and then we elevate ourselves on the degree, because in our Corrections, we have corrections that are called bestowing in order to bestow, which is the force of bestow positive forces, and receiving in order to bestow, where the egoistic forces turn into forces of bestow. Then, and only then do we reach the full correction. We will still learn. That is that. Okay. Okay, as if you heard everything. He says that the force to keep I love your friend as yourself is through incorporation and annulment towards the friends. Yes, what's the difference between saying that my friend is 10 times greater than me or saying my friend is 100 times greater than me? You work according to that in order to connect with him, but when I make the friends greater, I see that I'm also doing it because of their ego. Even from the ego, it doesn't matter how to truly make the friend great, to truly do it, so it's not, it's outside of these boundaries of the ego. No, you still cannot exit boundaries of the ego. That's still before you, and it'll be before you for a lot more time, but already to see that you go and advance, that soon you'll be able to do how to make the friend greater, how to truly make him greater. You can make him greater by depicting to yourself that he is great in every way that you want to grow. He is already great in that growth. Another question: what are the measurements of other greatness of the friend, and why is it measured with respect to my own greatness? How can I use that? The extent of the greatness of the friend is how much you can appreciate him in his good qualities, and how you can come closer to him. So you do all kinds of actions, even in this world, where you cannot carry out spiritual actions of what he does, but corporeal actions you can perform, and through those you come closer to him. How does it help? I have to measure it with respect to my own greatness. I mean, he says that her friend is 10 times greater than me, 100 times greater than me. Well, that says how much you appreciate, how much you value yourself. So you know that to elevate the friend, I have to lower myself. No, not really, it could be, but you just need to increase his greatness, as Rash writes in the article. Thanks. What? Enim, yes, there's a lady over there. Well, the one who put up a hand. I have a problem with annulment. I don't understand how I can annul myself before two friends. Yes, I love them, I miss them, I happy to see them, but the problem is that I look at them as my competitors, as if there is some competition between us. I'm jealous, envious of you, of the creator. How can I start relating to the friend? Notice of opponents, but as partners on the way towards the creator, as particles of my soul, without envy, without comparing, without anger. It's a problem to transition from hatred to love, but not give. To do that in one leap, but we can do that gradually. First, we need to constantly ask that from the creator, that he will give us the opportunity to see and the friends only positive qualities, and in such a way you would value them upon the good that reveals to you, because in every person there is good and bad, and you want to see only the good. It's like parents, they see in their little baby only the good, and if you speak with someone else, what would they say about that baby? Only bad things. Therefore everything depends on how each one perceives. We should thus try to view everyone with these completely unconditional qualities, and then we'll be able to look properly what independent qualities, and then we'll be able to appreciate everyone, and then that is everything. Yes. Good morning, Rob. The more this boundary is firm, can we say that we're entering greater coarseness? It's not determined by me, this attitude. When I execute the annulment, I should be interested in that this boundary will be hard, such a simple. No, the main thing is to be in equivalence with this boundary, and you have enough of that toughness. Too much is sure more. Ko. Good morning, ref. Good morning, world. CLE. My question, you say to see everything positive. Does it mean that you see the good and the bad, or have you see, when you see the bad, you transform it to good? We need to first see the truth. What is before us, and what outcome do we want to Reach so there is this phenomenon before us and we want that. Phenomenon want to reveal that. Phenomenon is coming to us and that it explains to us the act of bestow or an act of reception, and in such a way we decide and act with how we use what reveals that is. All I would put it that way. The question of the friend is, do we see the bed as bed also, and then we have to invert it into good, or do we only see good? Do only seek good? We seek only good. There are a few matters here. It could be that I'm in good and feel good and see good. Could be that I'm in bad and then I feel bad, or I feel good, etc. It depends on the attitude between one and the other, between what I see and what I am, and that is how we can discuss this. But in any case, after I come to an action, I need to calibrate myself so that I see where truth is and where I am. That's usually the case on one side, and on the other side, where the friends are, where the whole world is meaning. For all of these approaches, at the end of it all, more or less understand the truth, and then I see the extent to which I can help it to reach that truth. Is that okay? More yes. If we're going in the opposite direction with this toughness, I feel what we call this is what it means, what we say to open the heart, but I have to resist this flow that occurs through me, constantly go with greater annulment. So what is hardness after a lot of quality of? So what is hardness? Hardness is the quality of the massacre of the screen. How is this quality of the screen manifested with greater annulment? Yes, it is in more ascent above your ego. So it means that I'm entering the coarseness in order to rise above my ego. Don't get too smart. It's the easiest thing to protect yourself, and also to get confused by doing so. The forces of nature. Yes, he said in the beginning that we shouldn't let the forces of nature confuse us. So it turns out that if the spiritual forces and the forces of nature are one and the same, it depends on the corrected qualities in a person, the way he feels these forces when he's in a stage where he doesn't yet distinguish whether these are spiritual forces or natural forces. It is the same thing. How can a person make these in a choice in order to realize that his forces are not confusing him, but rather helping him? Yes, if he positions himself on a state that is as neutral as possible, then he can evaluate as correctly as possible what influences him and why he responds in such a way, and then he can select the correct path. How does this with this neutral state begin? From that in which he annulled himself toward the friends. For him that is the correct calibration, and that tuning to position yourself a neutral manner toward the friend to receive them as higher to oneself. You'll have no measurement in this world. All the questions coming from women and the men are acquired. It says in the article, it speaks about the seal of the scornful, that they have to be dispersed, whereas the assembly of the righteous should be strengthened. You invest so many forces in the lesson to be in the right direction, and in the meetings we have of the various stands and the meals that we have there, we don't have a spiritual teacher, and it's possible that what now you have inserted into us later in some other meetings we'll have a bit of you frivolity, and everything will be lost. Now in the period of Rash there were no such as Zoom meetings, but today nobody's managing or the situation, not even talking about new friends. How does it work? You invest in the lessons, and then you have some meeting of the 10 and somebody, let's say, lowers the importance, and that depends on you. What we now read, it is written here, that is from the year 1984. That is the time when Rabash wrote this article. I don't even remember the year that I read it, but certainly time. There may be 40 years ago. I don't know how much meaning you need to depict to yourself the different states that we can be in, and that the group can be in, and how we receive or accept what our teacher writes to us. Rash is the greatest teacher in practical Kabbalah, and accordingly we need to study. Him. Seriously, he also written that do nothing is better than doing something that we're not sure if it will promote us, elevate us, but we already have a meeting planned every day. Somebody becomes smart, somebody says something that maybe doesn't match what Rash says. We don't know, we don't have in the 10 a person who can manage this. Crow says every person should have such a person in every 10 there should be such a person. Rob said so maybe until we reach some degree of understanding the articles. Again, I'm saying there are many new friends studying also in the TESO. There might be some illusion that we are operating according to Rabash. Even in better intents this can happen. We can miss out on something. Maybe it's worthwhile for us to focus more on reading articles, or maybe like in your times lesson. I'm certain that if a 10 comes to the lesson you always add more to us, but in all of these meetings I'm not so certain that we're not missing out, or maybe it's okay and it will all fall into place and the lesson will take care of everything. It will cover everything. Nothing is covered by anything by itself. Everything needs to be chewed by you, so that you have to come to all the lessons, to all the meetings, to all your gatherings to absorb everything, and besides you need to read previous materials. This article we read today is from 1984, meaning if we focus only on reading articles, what do I mean in limiting? Just like you give a lesson, that's how we do the discussions and workshops, because we're all equal in the 10, so each adds something, and then a certain, like it's like a porridge comes out of it, and not exactly according to the precise direction that you give us. That's clear, but still the most important is the scrutiny with the friends. Okay, who else wants to ask? Surprising so quiet. When I felt you from afar it seemed to me like you were being torn from all the questions. You were so kind of full, and all of a sudden you're sitting there quietly. Everything's okay. Yeah, who is it there? Yes. No, good morning, dear teacher. I have an internal question. Self-annulment is at the beginning of this unconditional love, yeah, and the annulment of my ego too. Phrase it more accurately, self-annulment will only confuse you. We should now cancel our ego, specifically meaning it's not like a step towards love of others, it's a step toward love of others. But it's still before the real cancellation of myself. Thank you. I'm asking forgiveness, but I always get confused. What is intuition? Is it actually a hint that the Creator is giving me, or is it the ego that's leading me somewhere and I'm afraid to choose? Yeah, it's your ego. No. Yeah. Men, what's the matter with you? Yes, it is written that the 613 intensify the feeling in love of friends. Yes, so what is this talking about? It talks about the 613 in commandments, meaning desires that a person uses in order to bestow, which is why they're called commandments. They increase a person's vessel of bestowal each and every commandment, so we need to discern like desires and try to aim them towards the friends. Or if you're already going to work with him, then of course you do it. Okay, only one last question. Why is it a matter of so many details or individual things? Our will to receive is so complex. I understood. Thank you. Yes, ma'am, over there. Yeah, no, well, you said that the ego is there's the egoistic force that helps me go against me. Question this feeling that we are really strong in our point of unification. What are we being advised so that we will be able to examine ourselves, examine one another in this inner point of unification, and not break? What could help us stop ourselves, and not just stop ourselves from performing egoistic actions for my own benefit, and to use that same force which I have corrected only for the sake of others? This is what we need to do. Thank you. Yeah, behind you in the back you have a microphone. She's gone already. Thank you. You said that to stop the egoistic actions and use the force that I corrected for the benefit of others. Yeah. This is actually according to what he says in the article of moving it from a commandment of the Creator to a CLE is that what he means here. Yes, please raise your hands and keep them up. A question from a friend. You said that we need today to think about what we're giving and what we're receiving. What do our actor thoughts need to be about reception, since we're measuring our giving and receiving towards the Creator? How much does this bring us closer to him? And is this reception that I receive, that she receiving love from the friends? What thoughts need to be about reception from the friends to be close to that love, that you show love and respect to the friends, that you do good things for them. No, first of all, great gratitude for the exercise you gave us the moment, or we must hold on to our 10 while we're all praying together. It's like running with a heavy weight, and it doesn't let us disconnect. On the other hand, we see the burdening on the other side. We're going through certain states as we're moving the light onwards, and it's really felt how much more difficult it is for friends to incorporate for those who are not here. How can we hold on to the connection from both sides? What is our work, and what is the work of all the worldly that's not here? The whole world should do exactly the same things you're doing. Here we are broadcasting this through all our possibilities and all the language, all the languages, and all the means, so everyone has this possibility. That's it. So they should be connected to you, to me, and we will help everyone send the materials, be in touch with them if possible. Another small scrutiny: can we ask questions in their name, of course, on their behalf, and keep that connection? Yes. Have you said that there are no questions? And really, this convention is felt truly from the very beginning. Everything feels different. I feel like we came here not in order to ask questions and get answers, but to practically do what we have to do. We already want to enter inwards. We want to feel everyone as one. We have already many questions. We know all the answers, and we simply need to practically do it. Right now, how to do it all that you're telling us how to pass that border together in this convention. It depends on how close you are to each other and how much you help each other and feel yourselves being in one desire. That's it. It sounds so simple. Do you want me to say it in a more complicated way? It's the whole thing. Oh, what do we have to ask if we know what we need to do? Ask yourself. Ask yourself what stops me? What should I do in order to be way, in order to change from one state to another? Ask. Thank you. Ken, yes, gives us. He also aims us to a very important tool, which is the fear. Yes, because a person can fall in the middle to self-L. Yeah, how does a person organize within himself this great enough fear that he will be able to preserve the love and the spirit that we need by having thousands and thousands of people in front of him and on kind of on top of them, over them? He can increase within him the power of fear. Thank you. No, yeah, this one first. You thanks Aravi you, said Rabash, is the greatest teacher in the study of practical Kabbalah, and we need to study him seriously. I think we already feel this, and we're already studying him seriously, but the question is, what does it mean to study a Kabbalist seriously? To study seriously from a Kabbalist means first of all to learn what he wrote, to study it, to be impressed by his disciples, his students. Perhaps there are many there, all kinds, so we don't want to be confused by them, but the most important is to read what he wrote, to take from the things you have to do to change the way you have to, and in this way to be incorporated and to come closer. But how do we pass on this serious study to people who don't feel this connection with a Rabash and there is no chance, no way? You might confuse them. Don't do it this way. Okay, so what's the correct way to pass on this impression? Because I think can be, I see many people and I don't see faces, I see Rabash in them. They speak and you hear Rabash. Everything they do feels like you're in the presence of the Rabash, and this impression is very overwhelming to the extent that when you Go outside, it's almost impossible to keep quiet about it, and you feel pushed to pass it on. Even any conversation that comes up, you have nothing to say but things from the rabash, and you want to pass on this impression. So what's the correct way to pass on this impression without confusing them? The right way to convey to people is the right way is to give people the URL of our site in English or other languages. We have almost all the languages, and for them to study from the to write to us. They'll have teachers here, friends, and this way they will advance. K. Yes, thank you. Have Rash had a very particular situation in which his teacher was also his father, which made Anning harder in all the years that you spent next to him. Did you ever ask him how he was able to succeed? It seems like. Yes, of course I asked. He said it's much more difficult than it is for me to annul before him, because Bam was far higher spiritually and much more powerful, and this is why I said that it was very difficult for him to annul before his father, especially that it was his dad, and because every child towards his father feels powerful. So, but that didn't really help me, but we still need to continue to you. It's even easier. I see that it's easier for you. You have far less opportunities or fewer opportunities to go the wrong way, as much as it seems that it's not like that. It is like that's it. Ken. Yes, thank you, Rob. Many times I feel states one state where I put myself lower and lower than the friends, and I feel that I'm nothing, and then I feel my prayer towards the friends. On the other hand, I feel the support and power before the friends, and on the other hand there's no, and at that state there's no prayer. How to use these two states in order to breach into the spiritual world as seriously as you can, with scrutinizing where is the place that you can determine. How do you scrutinize this? Is it some intermediate state between the two of them? Request to the Creator. Yes, thank you. Who is it there? Of course. What does it mean to hold on to the connection, and thanks to what are we doing it? Maintaining the connection means that I cannot disconnect from my connection with the friends with whom I have connected in this Congress. We already have a connection between us, and this is how we remain in this connection. What does it mean? The correct level of holiness, when each one feels everyone the way he feels himself. Know why is it important to hold on to the love and the connection, and not just enjoy from the light of life. Enjoying the light of life is an egoistic pleasure. You can ask anyone, any alcoholic person, any bum, anyone, but if you're talking about spiritual nearing to the Creator, then you need to position in front of you, to place in front of you a ladder, and on each step determine exactly how you're going to keep climbing. So what does it mean to hold on to spiritual love between us? It is the con between you which is supported by the Creator. You are connected with Him and with the friends, and you constantly rise with the help of one another on this lad toward the Creator. Thank you very much for love, Rob, and friends. Sometimes I don't know how I can go through this border, crossing this border. What do we need to do here in order to cross this boundary, this border? We have to internally, as much as possible, experience live. What language was I speaking? Russian. Okay, I'll continue. So as much as possible we need to internally experience all your questions, feel them your own and others, to permeate each of these questions, and then check how you can answer all those questions from the point of view of pure clean connection with the Creator. That's it. No. Oh. Good morning everyone. Good morning. RV, I felt the fear for the first time herein. A friend today said that we're missing practical actions, and I thought that now all of us, as we gathered in this home, we will be able to do something with the intention for the sake of others. Will we be able to, all those who are here, can we do something with the intention, the feeling of love to the Creator? I am with you. Thank you. Well, another Man, now there's another woman over there. Yeah. Good day. Or when we talk about practical actions in order to feel this. Work, we don't pay attention. That every day we do acts of justification where we don't appreciate these actions because they're fundamental. So how can we uplift these actions until we reach to identifying them as good deeds? Just keep trying more, and it will succeed. Who else is over there? Yeah, please. Thank you very much. If you did this transition so did Rash. How can you do this? Through love of others towards one another, to copy these qualities of bestow, of stubbornness, of persistence in this transition. Through efforts consult among yourselves, take a common decision or several common decisions together and do them, and you will see what works and what works less, and what's not clear. Turn to me. The Congress is beginning the day after tomorrow. Right, all right, so we have time. Question from a friend: how to feel through my call that I'm changing the world towards correction when the world around us seems opposite what we're seeing here. After all, our work needs to start with confidence that our work impacts the world, but if we don't see it, how can you go in faith above reason? Specifically in this exactly, then we have to go with faith about reason, because within reason, within our rationality, we cannot do this work. Yeah. Question from the 10: does the correction happen by the friend upon me, or are giving me an ability to rise above the ego? If a friend doesn't care for me, doesn't care for my correction, is it possible to make that transition? No, it's not enough. It's not enough. Each one needs a few more friends for this reason. This is why a 10 consists of 10 people, in which each one is concerned with the others, and that's a 10 that can rise, ascend men. No, either you or you come on. Good morning, dear. If I see the hatred of my friend, what to do? Show him you love him, give it to the other one over there. He talked about connection with their teacher, how you connected with Rasha came to the wisdom of Kabbalah. 3-year book. I live in the center of South America, and I only had this book which I read, and they came all the way here. My question is egotistical. Okay, how can I connect with my teacher? Any with you? Only through studying. When you listen and read what I give, and by this there will be more connection between us. It's easier for me to connect with my 10. Or here's a question: or is it easier to connect with the teacher or the T? It is easier and more effective with the 10 with a 10. Thank you. Good luck. All right, so we will stop here, and we have, what else do we have after this? We have other parts if we want to. No, according to the schedule we'll have a summary of the lesson, then we'll have the noon lesson here. That'll be breakfast at noon. You're giving a lesson here. We don't have like a schedule. There is a shoe for the day, so it won't be in the air. We'll have a summary of the lesson, and then I'll tell them the whole schedule for the rest of the day. Okay, I'll explain. So after we finish the lesson here, there will be breakfast. After that, during the day at noon, 12:00 noon, we'll have a lesson here. Everyone's invited to come over here. Physically, men, women from 18 and above. At 5:30, we'll have the reading of the study of the tea, and at 7:30 we will read the Tsar. Now we will move to summarizing the lesson in every 10. Let's start summarizing the key points we heard in the lesson. Summarize the key points we heard in the lesson, please. Workshop. First of all, it's very exciting and moving to be here now with all the friends from the world. See, what I heard is that it all depends on us, on our connection. We have to connect and go inwards and see what I'm demanding for myself. Yeah, and our whole preparation for the Congress is on this point. It's like the last meters. Amen. Ray. So now we have to open our hearts even more toward each other to make that extra effort, and the Creator will finish for us. Yes, we heard that the wisdom of Kabbalah, all that it talks about is what do you think about the spiritual world, that it's above us, and to get there we have to act in a connection between us and love of friends so that the reforming light will operate upon us and advance us beyond that border which separates between the spiritual and the corporeal world. So you need to listen to what they say. You know me already, even I, until we come to us, and most of they or we feel that we are truly one. The sorry gold will feel that all the friends are no I. The nights are a little hard for me to focus 'cause I'm a bit distracted, so I listen when I can. Best time for me, what's important is for us to march together. Our advancement depends on us being connected. I'm not working, and I'm just, and every step we make will do it out of the connection between only in and out, 'cause I didn't come in until 9:22, so I couldn't tell you what the central points were, but I know it. There. Morning alert, love your friend is listen to the dies you on the one hand. Sounds getting into it, hope that the storm is better. I'm checking in your heart, there's infinite depth. We'll see how the night goes. It's been very unexpected. We weren't expecting this, all another layer, and it poured, and now it seems quiet. Thunder lightning almost all day, which is very unnat. Will correct us, but and I think there are 3 systems in the area need to feel. I think you're right, Macrina, 'cause but my husband wasn't expecting it. They were in construction today casting, and the rain took them by surprise. Completely so. It was you know, I'm sorry. All day each needs to feel the friend like himself. Truly I always go to where the underground makes this effort, emerging out of his own vessels and Chloe in the vest of the friends to truly feel one another. My husband is watching. Deficiency of the friend is my own, just out and just from that we can. Actually, I don't want to hear anything, and if hatred is revealed in the efforts we want to erase it, cancel it, and if love is revealed, I want to increase it and intensify it and show it to the friends. Everybody's upstairs watching now. We have an opportunity. We're entering into a special state called convention. Lot of BU media if we want to nullify and incorporate that state and feel everyone. It can be a truly big jumping board. We have great friends that are coming here.